The rain drizzled softly on the city streets, blurring the lights into golden halos. Inside a small diner, a man sat nervously, fidgeting with a tiny box wrapped in silver paper. His name was Ethan Cole, a single dad, exhausted yet determined, with a heart too big for the small wallet in his pocket. That night, he had spent his last $15 on that little gift, a pair of simple silver earrings. He didn't know if the woman he was meeting would like them. He didn't even know if she'd show up. But he hoped, for the first time in a long while, that maybe, just maybe, life was giving him one more chance. That he had no idea that the woman walking toward him was about to change everything. Ethan hadn't been on a date in years. Between 2 jobs and raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, he barely had time to breathe, let alone think about love. His ex-wife had left when Lily was just a baby, and since then, Ethan's life had been a constant grind: early mornings, late shifts, and quiet nights when he'd stare at the ceiling, wondering if he was doing enough. A coworker had signed him up for an online dating app as a joke. "You deserve someone, man," they had said. He'd laughed it off at first, but then he matched with someone, Ava. Her profile photo was simple, no filters, just a woman smiling softly, standing near the ocean. Her eyes carried warmth, and something in her simplicity pulled him in. They had talked for weeks about favorite books, childhood dreams, bad coffee, and the quiet pain of loneliness. She never talked much about her work, just said she was in management. He didn't press. He wasn't looking for someone's title, he was looking for heart now. Sitting in the corner booth of the diner, Ethan checked the time for the 5th time. She was 5 minutes late. Then 10. His stomach tightened. He looked at the tiny wrapped box again and almost laughed at himself. $15, he thought. That was all he had after paying rent and buying Lily's school shoes. He was about to leave when the bell above the diner door jingled. She stepped in. Ava, wearing a long beige coat and a faint smile that seemed to light up the dull fluorescent glow of the diner. Ethan stood up quickly, brushing his hands over his jeans. "Ava?" She nodded. "Ethan?" Her voice was gentle, calm. She extended her hand, and when their fingers touched, something like electricity hummed between them. Not romance yet, but recognition. 2 lonely souls crossing paths at the right time. They talked for hours. About everything and nothing. He made her laugh with stories about Lily and his cooking disasters. She shared pieces of her life, though she skipped over the details of her career, always turning the focus back to him. Ethan didn't notice, he was too busy being lost in her kindness, her curiosity, her laughter that felt like music after years of silence. When the waitress came by with the check, Ethan reached for it immediately. Ava protested, but he smiled. "No, no. I asked you out. I got this." He paid with a folded bill and a quiet prayer that his card wouldn't get declined. As they stood outside in the drizzle, Ava shivered slightly. Ethan reached into his coat pocket, hesitated, then handed her the little silver-wrapped box. "It's nothing fancy," he said. "Just a little something, for tonight." Ava blinked, surprised. She opened it carefully, her breath catching as the silver earrings shimmered softly in the streetlight. They were simple, but beautiful. "Ethan, these are lovely," she whispered. "You didn't have to." "I wanted to," he said quickly. "It's been a long time since I've done something nice for someone." She looked up at him, eyes glistening. "You have no idea how much this means to me." They said goodnight, and Ava left in a sleek black car that Ethan didn't notice was a luxury model. He just smiled, walking home through the rain, feeling lighter than he had in years. The next morning, Ethan was back at his job, fixing a broken coffee machine at a downtown office building. His uniform was damp, his hands rough, but his mind kept drifting back to Ava's smile. He didn't know where it would go, but for the first time, he felt hope. Then he froze. As he entered one of the upper floors, a familiar voice echoed down the hall. "Good morning, everyone. Let's start the meeting." He turned toward the glass conference room and his heart stopped. Ava, wearing a tailored white blazer, confident and composed, standing at the head of the long table. The company logo behind her read, Brightcore Industries, and she wasn't just any employee. She was the CEO. Ethan stumbled back, nearly dropping his tool bag. Their eyes met through the glass. Ava's expression flickered, surprise, then warmth, then something softer. She excused herself and came out to meet him. "Ethan," she said quietly. "You work here?" He nodded awkwardly. "Maintenance. I fix the machines." Ava's eyes softened. You didn't tell me. He shrugged, embarrassed. Didn't think it mattered. And you didn't exactly tell me this either. She smiled faintly. Fair point. For a moment, silence hung between them. Ethan felt small, out of place. Look, if this is weird for you, I get it. You probably don't, Ethan, she interrupted gently. Last night was the first time in years I felt human. I didn't want to be a CEO. I just wanted to be me. He looked at her, stunned. She took a breath. I've spent so long surrounded by people who only see money, titles, or power. But you gave me something money could never buy. You gave me sincerity. Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. I just gave you $15 earrings. Ava smiled. Exactly. Over the next few weeks, they began to see each other more, coffee breaks that turned into long talks, quiet walks after work, laughter that echoed like healing. Ava even met Lily, who instantly adored her. Still, Ethan struggled inside. He felt unworthy, out of her league. How could a millionaire CEO want someone like him, a man who counted coins before payday? One evening, Ava showed up at his apartment, small, tidy, with Lily's drawings taped to the walls. She looked around, eyes soft. You've built something beautiful here, Ethan, she said. He shook his head. It's not much. She smiled. It's everything. Then she handed him a small envelope. Inside was a letter, a business proposal. She wanted to partner with him. She'd seen his mechanical skills, his designs, and his small inventions that he worked on in his spare time, simple tools to make life easier for single parents. I don't want to give you charity, she said. I want to believe in you. He looked at her, tears in his eyes. Why me? Ava reached out and touched his hand. Because you spent your last $15 to make someone smile. That's the kind of man the world needs more of. Months later, Ethan's small workshop had grown into a thriving division under Ava's company, built on compassion, creativity, and trust. And one evening, as they stood in that same diner where it all began, Ava reached into her bag and handed him a small silver-wrapped box. He smiled, opening it, a pair of cufflinks, engraved with tiny letters. $15 changed everything. Ava looked into his eyes. It wasn't about the money, Ethan. It never was. He took her hand, smiling through tears. No. It was about the heart. Outside, the rain began again, soft, steady, like the night their story began, but this time, neither of them walked alone.